Srimati Vandana Chavan.
Sir, on behalf of the Nationalist Congress Party, I would like to submit that I, first of all, fully share the anxiety and sensitivity expressed by the Honorable Minister in her introductory note. I would like to also express that our heart goes out to every victim who is a victim of sexual assault in this country, and also to the parents and relatives who undergo a horrifying time. So I have to mention here that every incident that happens in our country, the degree of fear amongst women increases, and that of a mother doubles. And therefore, this House and each one of us as elected representatives owe a responsibility that whenever there is an akrosh in this country, we have to wake up to the call and address the safety issue for women. So we all know that the legislation that we seek to pass today is an outcome of the emotions and reactions triggered after the barbaric Delhi gang rape of December 2012. So the memories of the brutal 2012 Delhi rape have returned to haunt us once again with the release of the juvenile. The barbaric crime and the release of the juvenile after 3 years without the public knowledge whether juvenile is reformed or not, whether he is actually safe to move around in the society or not, certainly calls for a relook at the present provisions relating to juvenile justice. However, my submission is that it should not be done in the form of the provisions of the present bill, sir, where the child is to be tried selectively as an adult criminal in the adult criminal justice system. Sir, reformation, rehabilitation, social integration of a child has been the philosophy of juvenile legislation in India since 1920. Reading as a whole, the Indian Constitution recognizes that the child is vulnerable and needs special provision and care and protection. India has ratified the Convention of the Rights of the Child in 1992. The Supreme Court rulings have also considered the issue of age. More so, recently, the Verma Committee report, which constituted by the Government of India to examine the law regarding sexual assault against women in the light of the very same Nirbhaya case, there has been a consistent stand on not recommending reduction of age from 18 to 16 years and upholding the juvenility age as 18 years. So we have to realize that a legal system cannot and does not stand on emotion. It has to stand on reason. While enacting laws in our country, we have always upheld prudence and scientific temper. There has been an argument that if you are old enough to rape, you are old enough to be hung. And I feel this is absolutely wrong. I wish to submit, sir, that the scientific studies on the adolescent brain and psychology totally contradict the presumption that juvenile engaged in crimes such as rape and murder are more mature and therefore should be treated as adults. Sir, study by Elizabeth Kaufman and Lawrence Steinberg in their paper, Immaturity of Judgment and Adolescence, Why Adolescents May Be Less Culpable Than Adults, they observe, and I quote, neuroscientists now confirm that prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for important functions such as planning, reasoning, judgment, and impulse control, is slowest to mature. That is the part of the brain, sir. Our present science establishes that younger people engage in risky behavior precisely because of an underdeveloped brain. So even the Justice Verma Committee declined to reduce the age of juvenility to 16 years, relying upon these findings of Lawrence Steinberg. Recent scientific findings on the maturity of adolescent brain has led to a shift of stand even in the USA to replace or abandon their system, which exists in few states, to try children as adults in adult courts. So it is evident that the transfer system is failing there, and there is no reason why India should replicate a failing system in our country. So according to me, we really do not need a new law. The present law and its provisions can be effective with a few amendments, such as increasing the period of detention from 3 years to maybe 5 to 6 years, and also further monitoring him or the juvenile in a better way post his release. So we have miserably failed to properly implement and monitor the various institutions under the present law of 2000. So do we have adequate juvenile justice boards? Do we have child welfare committees? Do we have special homes? It's only on paper, it doesn't really exist. Do we have adequate and requisite infrastructure? Are the child welfare officers as police stations trained to deal with this law of the children? Are there any prescribed standard of care? And if so, are they being followed? What is the standard of education, counseling, and vocational training? Is there any accountability or performance appraisal, capacity building, or training? Are there any individual care plans according to the Act being prepared? Unfortunately, sir, the answer is in the negative. There should be greater commitment in terms of financial allocations also, which is totally missing. So it's an irony that the children who constitute 40% of our population are allotted only 0.4% of the total budget. The ICPS, or the Integrated Child Protection Scheme, which includes programs for the juvenile justice, which shows expenditure in 13-14 as 265 crores, has been allotted only 65 crores in the current year. This year, we saw a massive cut of 30% in the children's budget. So what are we talking about? Why didn't we wake up all this time? There was, after the incident, there was a Verma committee which was set up. After the Verma committee, we had a spate of amendments that we came up with. Today, we come up with a juvenile justice bill, or wanting to pass this bill to become an act. Did we sleep all this time? What were we doing to ensure safety to the women of this country? I feel we have terribly failed, and we are unnecessarily taking the shortest path to make a scene that we are doing something for the women of this country. So we have miserably failed our children who need our help to reform. And now we seek to introduce a draconian system to further complicate their lives. So what is the number of people children that we are talking of? Children constitute 40% of the country's 1.2 billion population. The number of children, sir, in the age group of 16 and 18 years, if we see how many children were actually apprehended, we have no statistics as to how many were actually convicted. But in 2013, the rape, children who were apprehended for rape is 1,388. For murder, it is 845. Can a country as large as India afford to suggest that it cannot take special care of these 2,000 children? So we have IITs where we spend 1,700 crores. We have a smart city project where we want to spend 1 lakh crores. We have a digital India where we want to spend 1.13 trillion. The budget train, I don't know how many billions. Most of these children, sir, we have to realize, belong to the socio-economic weaker sections. The data of the NCRB shows that 60% juveniles apprehended come from families with income less than 25,000 per annum. 20% come from families with an annual income of 25,000 to 50,000 per annum. Most of these children come from illiterate and less educated families. 50% of them are illiterate and only study to primary levels. Sir, they are victims of our socio-economic conditions, and we are the only ones to be blamed for this. And therefore, we have to wake up and realize that there has to be a balance between what we are seeking to do and the welfare of the children. Sir, if our children
Thank
have
you.
to now be
Kindly
treated
conclude.
as... So 1 minute, sir. So only 2 points. So if our children have to be now treated as adults, is the atmosphere of jails any better? There are no board stills. Sir, there is 118.4 occupancy in jails. People are already languishing there. There is lack of inspection. There is unnecessarily detention. There are suicide cases. Are we going to make our young children subject to this kind of atrocity in the jail? And therefore, sir, it is a paramount issue when we deal with juvenile justice that the safety of women is topmost. Sir, we have to realize that after the Verma Committee report, after the amendments, and now the Juvenile Justice Act, have we embarked on any study where we have tried to make out what is the socio-economic condition of these accused? Have we seen what is the literacy rate? Have we even seen what is the mind? Have we mapped their mind to understand why they are doing these crimes? So as Mishra ji rightly said, children are exposed to pornography very easily. And if they keep seeing these pornography films, their minds are going to be polluted. Has the government ever thought of this and taken stringent actions as to address this issue? Unfortunately, sir, it is very disheartening when Nirmaya's mother says on television that she has sent away her 2 children out of Delhi because she doesn't feel safe. So we had gone to Princeton University, we met a girl there who said she was from Chennai. She said, when will India become safe for women? That was a question and we were all answerless. We could not answer her. She said she had come to Princeton, she belongs to a middle class family, cannot afford to be there, but only because she feels unsafe in Chennai and because she had been subjected to some kind of crime that her parents had to shift her to Princeton. How many parents can afford to send their children to Princeton? So this is something that is a wake-up call for all of us. So I suggest, this is my appeal, that we have to no doubt relook, review the present provisions, but at the same time, I feel that this law is absolutely stringent, and therefore I suggest to the Honorable Minister and this House that we should send it to a select committee where we should make a deeper study and come out with certain provisions which will not be only considered for a short time, but they should be solid, firm, and which will actually meet justice both to the victim and the children of our country. And last but not the least, sir, there is a saying by Jessica Lang who says, there can be no better measure of our governance than the way we treat our children, and no greater failing on our part than to allow them to be subjected to violence, abuse, or exploitation. Passing this bill would be amounting to abuse of our children because we have not applied our mind the way we should. And therefore, once again, I would make an appeal to this August House that we should send this bill. It is not to defer anything. Let us keep a time period. Let us say it has to happen in 4 weeks. But there has to be an application of mind so as to make sure that the law we pass ensures that we do justice to the victim, at the same time, justice to the children of our country who are our future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.